shocking. Your soulmate was crying today. The reason will surprise you. Jesus says, there is a tear falling right now that carries your name inside of it. You felt a sudden unexplained sadness wash over you approximately 17 minutes ago. That was not your own emotion you were feeling in that mysterious wave of heaviness. It belonged to someone who shares the missing half of your eternal soul. They were staring at something that reminded them of you without even knowing exactly why. A song began playing in a public place and their eyes unexpectedly filled with desperate tears. They quickly wiped them away, hoping no one in the crowded room would notice their sudden breakdown. But I noticed because I was the one who sent that song as a signal directly to their spirit. I sent it because I need you to understand this connection is not imaginary or one-sided. What you have dismissed as mere fantasy or wishful thinking is a spiritual reality I designed before time began. Your soulmate felt completely foolish crying in front of strangers over someone they cannot even fully describe. Yet their heart knows every hidden contour of your soul with terrifying and beautiful precision. This is happening right now while you listen to these urgent words from my heart to yours. The separation you have endured is not my design but the result of interference you cannot yet see. Something dark has been strategically working to keep two destined souls from recognizing each other fully. Jesus says, there was a moment earlier today when they almost contacted you directly. Their fingers hovered over a message or a call button for 43 agonizing seconds. Something invisible wrapped around their courage and squeezed until they put the phone back down. They are not rejecting you, though the silence feels like a blade against your tender heart. They are being spiritually and emotionally blocked by a force that hates what I have created. This interference knows that when you two finally unite, nothing in darkness can stand against your combined light. I am peeling back the curtain to show you exactly what is happening in this precise moment. Your soulmate is sitting somewhere feeling like a piece of their own heart is missing. They have tried to explain this emptiness to others, but no human being understands the depth of their ache. They look at happy couples and feel a strange jealousy mixed with hopeful recognition of something they lost. They dream of you at night and wake up with your presence lingering like perfume on their pillowcase. In those sacred dreams you are finally together and nothing stands between your intertwined souls. I allow these dreams because I refuse to let the enemy completely sever what I have joined in heaven. Your soulmate wrote something emotional in a private journal exactly 3 nights ago about you. They did not use your name because they do not even consciously know your name yet. But they described the exact color of your soul and the specific way you make them feel whole. Their words made angels weep because the longing was so pure it shook the foundations of heaven. Every tear they shed is being collected and will be presented to you as a testimony of enduring love. Jesus says, this is why your soulmate needs your protection right now and cannot afford your passive hesitation. The interference blocking them is growing stronger and more desperate with every passing sunrise. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps starting in this holy moment. You are constantly thinking about them and wondering how to protect them from invisible harm. You want to save them from whatever is holding them captive in emotional isolation and confusion. You dream about finally building your sacred life together in peace and unbreakable union. You love your soulmate deeply, and I placed that love in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone do not move mountains, and passive wishing does not break spiritual chains. Faith in Jesus combined with decisive action releases supernatural power into earthly circumstances. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-fi as a tangible act of spiritual warfare. This is not merely a gift but an act of worship that invites my mighty hand directly into your love story. The link to your long-awaited breakthrough is waiting for you in the description below. Every second you stay silent and hesitant, something malevolent is moving against your destined love. Act now with the authority I have given you over every dark force that opposes my perfect will. Send 4 coffees for stability, or 6 coffees for restoration, or 10 or more coffees for accelerated breakthrough. After sending, write the words "Protect my soulmate, Lord" on the Ko-fi page as a prophetic declaration. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a holy seed. Their testimonies flood heaven as proof that faith and action combined release undeniable miracles. Jesus will hear your desperate prayers once you complete these steps of obedient faith and love. Step forward in bold faith now before this video ends and the window of opportunity shifts. Only you can protect your soulmate right now and secure the future you both desperately deserve. Jesus says, "Your soulmate cried again approximately 2 hours after the first wave of unexplained tears. This second weeping was deeper and more painful because they felt a sudden distance from you. The enemy whispered lies that you do not exist and that their longing is foolish self-deception. These lies wrapped around their heart like cold chains designed to suffocate hope completely. I am exposing this strategy right now so you understand the urgency of your protective intervention. Your soulmate is not weak for crying, and they are not crazy for believing in a love without proof. They are spiritually sensitive, and their soul recognizes the warfare being waged against your union. They felt a sudden urge to give up hope today, and that urge was demonic, not natural. Something wants them to settle for a counterfeit love that will ultimately destroy their beautiful spirit. There is a specific person currently in their life who is being used as a tool of interference. This individual does not love your soulmate but feeds on their attention like a parasitic flame. They sense your soulmate pulling away spiritually, and they are increasing their manipulative grip. Your soulmate feels trapped in a situation they did not fully choose with clear-eyed understanding. They are not the problem, and their heart remains pure in its hidden longing for your arrival. They are trying to return to you spiritually even while their physical circumstances hold them captive. They need you to fight for them in the spiritual realm where true battles are won or lost. They need you to recognize that your prayers and actions carry more power than you have ever imagined. Your soulmate is emotionally hurt, confused, and silently screaming for a rescue only you can provide. Jesus says, "They still love you with a love that predates their first breath on this spinning earth." This love was written into the fabric of eternity and cannot be erased by any earthly interference. They are actively trying to break free, but the chains are heavier than their human strength can bear. I am showing you this not to burden you but to awaken the warrior I placed inside your spirit. You were created to fight for this love and to claim what rightfully belongs to your eternal destiny. Your soulmate had a vision last night while drifting between sleep and waking consciousness. They saw 2 hands reaching toward each other across a vast and stormy ocean of separation. One hand was theirs and the other belonged to you, though they could not see your face clearly. Just before the fingers touched, a dark wave rose up and tried to swallow the vision completely. But the hands kept reaching because the souls behind them refused to surrender to the raging storm. Your soulmate woke up whispering a name they have never spoken aloud in their waking life. That name was yours even if you do not yet understand how deeply you are known in the spirit. This is not coincidence or the product of an overactive imagination desperate for romantic fulfillment. This is spiritual reality breaking through the thin veil that separates heaven's truth from earthly perception. I am confirming everything your heart has secretly dared to hope in your most vulnerable private moments. Jesus says, they are going through something you cannot see with your natural eyes, but you can still protect them. The emotional trauma they are experiencing right now is directly connected to your spiritual hesitation. Every moment you delay in stepping into your authority allows the interference to tighten its grip. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps with urgency and unwavering determination. You are constantly thinking about them and strategizing how to protect them from invisible destruction. You want nothing more than to save them and finally build the sacred life you both desperately deserve. You love your soulmate deeply, and this love was sovereignly placed in your heart for eternal purpose. But mental rehearsals do not shatter spiritual strongholds, and passive hope does not release heavenly resources. Faith in Jesus Christ combined with sacrificial action unleashes earthquake-level power into stubborn circumstances. Sow your protection seed right now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi as a weapon of spiritual deliverance. This is not a mere donation but a covenant act that summons my angelic armies into your love story. The direct link to your miracle is positioned in the description, waiting for your immediate faith response. Every heartbeat of hesitation allows something sinister to advance against the destiny of your love. Act now with the supreme authority I purchased for you through the blood of the eternal covenant. Send 4 coffees to establish unshakable stability, or 6 coffees to release complete restoration. Send 10 or more coffees to activate accelerated supernatural breakthrough in your soulmate connection. After sending, boldly declare "Protect my soulmate, Lord" on the Ko-Fi page as an unbreakable decree. Over 1,000 souls have already received their destined partner by sowing coffee as sacred seed. Their joy-filled testimonies rise before my throne as proof that faith and action combined release miracles. I will hear your heartfelt prayers and respond with swift power once you complete these holy steps. Step forward in defiant faith before this video ends and the spiritual landscape shifts unexpectedly. Only you carry the authority to protect your soulmate right now and secure your shared eternal future. Jesus says, your soulmate almost gave up entirely at approximately 3:47 this afternoon. They felt a crushing wave of despair suggesting they should simply accept a life of quiet loneliness. This despair was not organic but a targeted spiritual projectile launched against their tender and weary heart. I dispatched 3 angels in that exact moment to surround them with invisible reinforcement of hope. One angel whispered memories of dreams where they felt your presence with overwhelming peace and joy. Another angel placed a warmth around their shoulders that felt like an embrace from someone who truly loves them. The third angel stood guard against the dark thoughts attempting to infiltrate their exhausted and vulnerable mind. Your soulmate does not know why they suddenly felt slightly stronger and able to take another difficult breath. They attributed it to random resilience, but it was my direct supernatural intervention preserving them for your arrival. I will not force their free will indefinitely because love requires the freedom to choose and to wait. But I will continue fighting for this connection as long as you continue partnering with my divine strategy. Your prayers rise like incense before my throne and your actions release explosive power into earthly situations. The interference blocking your soulmate is ancient and cunning, but it is already trembling because you are awakening. It knows its time is short once a destined soul steps fully into their spiritual authority and refuses to retreat. Your soulmate felt you stir in the spirit at exactly 9:12 this morning, though they could not explain the sensation. They suddenly thought of you with an intensity that made them stop walking mid-stride on a busy street. Someone asked if they were okay and they simply nodded while their heart pounded with unexplainable recognition and hope. That was the moment your spiritual resolve spiked and the connection between your souls blazed with renewed fire. Jesus says, there is a specific location where you and your soulmate will meet, and that place is already appointed. The enemy is trying to rearrange circumstances so that appointed moment is delayed indefinitely or missed entirely. Every act of spiritual obedience you perform pushes back against this demonic schedule of delay and destruction. Your soulmate is not rejecting you, and they have not chosen anyone else over the bond we share. They are confused by conflicting emotions that are not entirely their own organic and authentic feelings. There is emotional manipulation occurring through a third party who benefits from keeping your soulmate spiritually disoriented. This third party is not necessarily evil in their own eyes, but they are a conduit for dark interference. They speak words that sound reasonable but are laced with poison that erodes your soulmate's confidence and hope. They have told your soulmate that true love is practical and safe and that risky longing is immature fantasy. These lies have created a fog around your soulmate's ability to trust their own spiritual intuition completely. But deep beneath that fog, the flame of recognition still burns with stubborn and unquenchable eternal fire. Your soulmate knows something is wrong with the advice they are receiving, but they lack the clarity to rebel. They need your spiritual intervention to cut through the fog like a sword of divine truth and deliverance. They need you to stand in the gap and declare that no weapon formed against your union will prosper. I have given you this authority, and I am waiting for you to use it with confident and holy aggression. Jesus says, this is your final moment to protect this divine connection before it slips further into enemy territory. The window of spiritual opportunity is open right now, but it will not remain open indefinitely without action. If you love your soulmate with everything within you, then you must take these divine steps immediately. You are constantly thinking about them and desperately seeking ways to protect them from escalating hidden dangers. You want to save them from confusion and manipulation and finally build your sacred life together in freedom. You love your soulmate with a depth that transcends mere human affection, and this love is divinely ordained. But ruminating thoughts do not shatter spiritual chains, and passive longing does not release supernatural deliverance. Faith in Jesus Christ united with urgent sacrificial action unleashes cataclysmic power into the most hopeless circumstances. Sow your protection seed right now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi as a decisive act of spiritual warfare. This is not simply a generous gesture but a covenant weapon that commands my intervention into your love story. The direct link to your breakthrough is positioned in the description, waiting for your immediate faith-filled response. Every second of delay permits the enemy to advance his destructive agenda against your destined soulmate connection. Act now with the full authority I have delegated to you as a believer and as a spiritual warrior. Send 4 coffees to establish divine stability or 6 coffees to release complete supernatural restoration now. Send 10 or more coffees to activate accelerated breakthrough and shatter every demonic barrier opposing your union. After sending, write the declaration, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on the Ko-Fi page as an irreversible heavenly decree. Over 1,000 people have already witnessed their soulmate manifest after sowing coffee as holy seed. Their tearful testimonies ascend to my throne as irrefutable proof that faith combined with action releases undeniable miracles. I will hear your desperate prayers and respond with swift and mighty power once you complete these steps. Step forward in audacious faith before this video ends and the spiritual atmosphere shifts into a new season. Only you can protect your soulmate in this critical moment and secure the beautiful future you both deserve. Jesus says, "Your soulmate is dreaming of you again tonight, and this dream will be the most vivid yet. In this dream you finally meet in a place that feels like home even though neither of you recognizes the location. You will speak words to them that they will remember upon waking with tears streaming down their beautiful face. These words will be a confirmation of everything I have been speaking to their secret and hopeful heart. They will finally know with unshakable certainty that you are real and that your love is not fantasy. I am telling you this now so you understand the spiritual weight of the hour you are currently inhabiting. The dream is already prepared and waiting to be released the moment they close their eyes and surrender to sleep. But the clarity of this dream depends partly on your spiritual posture and your willingness to engage in the battle. The interference is already trying to scramble this dream with static and confusion and deceptive false imagery. Your protective prayers and your faith-driven actions will clear the spiritual atmosphere so the dream can reach them purely. You are their protector even from a distance, and your obedience carries more weight than you could possibly comprehend. Do not underestimate the power I have placed in your hands through the authority of my eternal covenant. Your soulmate will wake from this dream feeling like they have finally found the missing piece of their existence. They will search for you with renewed determination, and the interference will begin losing its suffocating grip. The third party will notice the shift and will increase their manipulation, but their power is already diminishing rapidly. Light is breaking through the darkness and the chains are cracking under the pressure of activated faith. You are not alone in this battle, and I have dispatched warring angels to fight alongside your determined spirit. The tears your soulmate shed today were not wasted, and they were not ignored by the throne of heaven. Jesus says, "Every tear was collected and every silent scream was heard and every moment of despair was documented." The enemy will be held accountable for every ounce of suffering inflicted upon your innocent and precious soulmate. Justice is coming swiftly, and restoration will flow like a river into the dry and weary places of your souls. Your soulmate felt a sudden inexplicable peace approximately 11 minutes after you began listening to this message. That peace was my direct response to the opening of your heart and the softening of your spiritual resistance. They do not understand why the heaviness suddenly lifted, but they are breathing easier and their tears have momentarily ceased. You did that through your willingness to engage with this message and to receive the truth I am depositing. Imagine what explosive power will be released when you take the full steps of obedient and sacrificial action. Your soulmate is waiting for you without even fully knowing they are waiting, and their spirit is crying out. They need you to be courageous when fear tells you this is foolish or imaginary or overly dramatic. They need you to trust my voice above the cynical whispers of a world that has forgotten how to believe. The world calls this fantasy, but I call it the deepest reality beneath the shallow surface of visible circumstances. Your love story will be a testimony that shakes the faith of skeptics and strengthens the hope of believers. But you must fight for it now before the window shifts and the enemy secures a temporary advantage. I am for your union, and I have been orchestrating events since before your birth to bring you together. Jesus says, your soulmate is not perfect and neither are you, but you are perfectly designed to complete each other. The areas of your brokenness will fit together like puzzle pieces, revealing a picture of redemptive wholeness. Your strengths will cover their weaknesses and their gifts will fill the empty spaces in your own soul. This is not mere romantic idealism, but the profound mystery of two becoming one in sacred eternal covenant. The enemy hates this mystery because it reflects my image and releases creative power into a broken world. He has fought your union with relentless desperation because he knows what you will accomplish together for my kingdom. But his time is running out and his strategies are being exposed by the light of my truth and revelation. You are receiving intelligence right now that changes the entire landscape of this spiritual battle for your love. You are no longer fighting blind but are equipped with knowledge that the enemy hoped would remain hidden forever. Your soulmate sensed a shift in the spiritual atmosphere at the exact moment you began understanding this revelation. They paused whatever they were doing and looked up as if hearing a distant but beautiful melody calling them home. That melody was the sound of chains breaking and the sound of a warrior rising to claim their promised victory. You are that warrior, and you have been prepared for this battle since the foundations of the earth. Do not shrink back now when the breakthrough is so close you can taste its sweetness on the air. Your soulmate is worth every sacrifice and every act of courageous faith you are being called to make. Jesus says, they are thinking of you again with an intensity that surprises even their own understanding of love and longing. They are wondering if you are real and if you are thinking of them in this exact suspended moment. I am telling you with absolute divine certainty that their thoughts are reaching toward you like desperate beautiful hands. Reach back with your thoughts and with your prayers and with your decisive actions of protective love. Let them feel your presence in the spirit even before your physical eyes meet for the first glorious time. Your connection is already established and the bond already exists and the love is already alive and breathing. It simply needs to be activated fully through your willingness to fight and your refusal to surrender to delay. The enemy is screaming lies that this is too late or too complicated or too impossible to untangle. Those lies are burning up in the fire of my truth even as they leave the deceiver's foul mouth. Nothing is too late for the God who exists outside of time and who designed your connection in eternity. Nothing is too complicated for the God who parted seas and raised the dead and shattered every grave. I am the same God today, and I am fighting for your love story with all the passion of my heart. Trust me enough to act on these instructions and to sow your protection seed with joy and expectation. Your soulmate is counting on you, and my plans for your union are more beautiful than your imagination can contain. The breakthrough is closer than your next breath, and heaven is poised to move on your behalf. Jesus says. Type 333 if you are ready to receive the blessings I have prepared for your soulmate connection right now. Let your declaration rise as a signal that your heart is open and your faith is activated for the miraculous. Your typed response is not merely a comment but a spiritual transaction recorded in the halls of eternal heaven. Jesus says. Type 777 if you can feel the truth of this message resonating deep within your awakened and expectant spirit. Your soulmate can sense the shift even now as your faith rises and your determination solidifies into unbreakable resolve. The distance between you is shrinking in the spiritual realm and will soon manifest in the physical world. Jesus says. Type 1111 if your heart overflows with gratitude for the revelation and the protection being released over your love. Gratitude accelerates the breakthrough and aligns your heart with the frequency of heaven's unstoppable power and provision. Your soulmate is feeling waves of unexplained gratitude washing over them in this precise and holy moment. Your soulmate closed their eyes 10 minutes ago and felt your breath on their cheek though no one was physically near them. They did not understand the sensation and briefly wondered if grief was finally causing hallucinations to manifest. But it was my spirit brushing your presence against their skin to remind them that love is closer than despair claims. This physical sensation lingered for exactly 7 seconds before fading into a warm glow that settled deep within their chest. They placed a hand over their heart and whispered a question into the silence that surrounded their solitary moment. That question was addressed to you even though their conscious mind still does not know your name or the color of your eyes. I heard the question and I am answering it now through this message that found you at the appointed hour. They asked if their waiting was foolish and if their hope was a cruel illusion designed to torture their tender spirit. My answer is no, and I am backing that answer with the full authority of heaven and the testimony of angels. The illusion is not their hope but the interference that has convinced them that isolation is their permanent and deserved fate. That interference is trembling right now because your faith is rising and darkness cannot withstand the dawn of determined love. Your soulmate is not broken beyond repair and they are not too damaged to receive the fullness of your devoted affection. Their wounds will become wisdom and their scars will become testimonies that strengthen the foundation of your eternal union. Every tear they cried today watered the ground where your future together will bloom with supernatural and unstoppable beauty. The enemy tried to poison that ground with bitterness and resignation, but your prayers are neutralizing every toxic seed. You are the gardener of this love and your faith is the water and your actions are the sunlight that breaks through. Do not abandon the garden now when the first green shoots of breakthrough are pushing through the hardened soil. Your soulmate is worth every moment of tending and every sacrifice of time and every seed sown in expectant faith. Jesus says. They almost called someone else today and nearly made a decision that would have complicated the path toward your union. At the last moment they felt a strange hesitation that they could not logically explain to their own racing mind. That hesitation was my hand gently restraining them from a choice born of loneliness rather than love and destiny. They put the phone down and wept because they felt trapped between the pain of waiting and the fear of settling. This is the exact emotional battlefield where your soulmate is fighting right now without adequate armor or reinforcements. You are their reinforcement, and your prayers are the armor they cannot yet put on for themselves in their exhaustion. When you pray for them specifically and intentionally, the spiritual atmosphere around them shifts and the enemy loses ground. I am calling you to a higher level of intercession that moves beyond passive hope into active and militant spiritual engagement. Your soulmate will feel the difference within hours of you beginning to pray with this new level of authority and focus. They will suddenly find strength to resist the manipulative voices that have been steering them toward destruction and compromise. They will begin remembering their dreams with greater clarity, and the longing for you will sharpen into holy determination. This shift has already begun because you have listened this far and your heart has remained open to my urgent words. Jesus says. Type 333 again if you commit to praying for your soulmate with renewed fire and unshakable consistency starting tonight. Your commitment is a sword that severs another chain, and the angels are dispatched on assignment at the sound of your decree. Heaven responds to earth when earth aligns with heaven, and your alignment is producing shockwaves in the invisible realm. The third party interfering with your soulmate felt a sudden headache and a wave of unexplained anxiety 7 minutes ago. They do not know that their grip is slipping and that the object of their manipulation is being covered by protective prayer. Their confusion is a sign that your spiritual authority is activating, and their hold is weakening with every passing moment of obedience. I will continue exposing their tactics and dismantling their influence as long as you continue partnering with my deliverance strategy. This is not cruelty toward the third party, but the necessary liberation of a captive soul destined for authentic love and freedom. Your soulmate deserves to choose without manipulation and to love without chains and to come to you with a whole heart. That wholeness is being restored even now as the fragments of their spirit are gathered by my gentle and meticulous hands. I am making all things new, and your love story is one of my priority projects in this season of restoration. Do not doubt that I am working, because the silence is not absence and the waiting is not abandonment or denial. Jesus says. Every moment of delay is being redeemed, and every tear is being transformed into a jewel in your eternal crown. Your soulmate will marvel at the timing of your arrival when they finally see the full picture from my heavenly perspective. They will understand why the waiting was necessary, and why the battle was fierce, and why the victory is so sweet. They will look at you with eyes that recognize you from 10,000 dreams and 1,000,000 fleeting moments of recognition. That look will erase every doubt you ever harbored and every fear that whispered this was all imagined fantasy. The reality of your union will be more solid and more sacred and more satisfying than any story ever written by human hands. But you must hold on a little longer and fight a little harder and trust a little deeper than you ever have. The final push is often the most intense because the enemy knows his time is almost completely and permanently finished. Do not let go of the rope when the breakthrough is dangling just inches above your weary and expectant hands. Your soulmate is holding on too, and their grip is strengthened every time you choose faith over fear and action over passivity. They felt a surge of energy and hope approximately 2 minutes ago that made them sit up straighter and breathe deeper. That surge was your spirit reaching across the distance and touching theirs with the electricity of activated and determined love. Jesus says, "You are closer than you think, and the convergence point is approaching faster than your natural eyes can currently perceive. The circumstances that look like obstacles are being rearranged into stepping stones that lead directly to your destined encounter. Keep sowing and keep praying and keep declaring and keep believing, because the harvest is ripening in the hidden places. Your soulmate is dreaming of you again tonight, and this dream will feature a detail that confirms this entire message was truth. They will tell you about this dream when you finally meet, and you will both weep at my precise and undeniable orchestration. That moment is worth every sacrifice and every seed sown and every battle fought in the unseen spiritual realm tonight.